Andre the Giant.
Gonna get his right set on the bruiser.
Number one, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
His opponent, weighing 236 pounds in the white corner, from Van Nuys, California.
Welcome in to Retro Wrestling Rewind. Of course, as always, I am one half of the greatest uncrowned podcast tag team champions of the world. We are on episode number 25. Folks, yes, we made it past our 21st birthday. 4 episodes ago. We are on 25. We have 5 episodes till we're 30. As always, I'm David Fine, alongside my tag team partner, the true Long Island IC, Alex G. How are you doing this Battle Bowl 93 week?
I like the Lethal Lottery. I do not like the Battle Bowl. But otherwise, I'm okay. Better than most people, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, it's not a bad show. I mean, it was. Like you said in the pre-show in our meeting, you said you love the concept of Lethal Lottery. Battle Bowl, not so much.
They kept on messing around with the concept of the Battle Bowl, and it was a 2-ring, and then it's 1 ring, and then they mess with this concept so much that, you know, the initial concept was for Starrcade 91, and they changed it a bunch of times, and they had, you know, Sting won 1, and then Muto won 1, and it got weird after that.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Of course, they had the whole angle with the great Mean Gene Okerlund and Fifi the maid, you know, with all those hijinks.
The current Mrs. Flair.
Yes, the one woman that, you know, stood through it, you know, his all his troubles that he had.
You think they were fucking that entire time?
Yes.
Me too.
I mean, and she was super hot. Holy crap!
She is still all the way alive.
Yeah, she is. But I mean, Mean Gene and this whole shenanigans and hijinks that they had were. I mean, what were your thoughts on that? I mean, it was really fun.
Classic Mean Gene shenanigans and tomfoolery. He is this show, by the way. This is the Mean Gene show.
Do you think it would have gone over not gone over as well if it had been anybody else? Like if it had been a younger person,
like Bischoff?
Mean Gene,
Bischoff would have been shitty. Bischoff had recently taken over WCW, and if you look at the current roster, you see the state of WCW when Bill Watts fucking left. Holy shit!
I
love Bill Watts. I love Mid-South Wrestling, but he did irreparable damage to WCW. And a lot of people will say Jim Herd and what have you, and yeah, we'll go into Jim Herd maybe on another episode, but he probably gets too much shit for the stuff he did and not enough credit for the positives that he did. And then people don't talk about Kip Allen Fry and some of the good stuff that he actually did prior to the Watts administration. But this entire Watts run was fucking awful. And kudos to Eric Bischoff because he inherited a shit show and turned it into the #1 wrestling promotion in the United States. So kudos to Eric Bischoff. Unheralded genius, by the way, I think Eric Bischoff is.
Yeah, I mean, and before we go into this shit show, as you call it, I mean, of course, last week we covered WrestleMania 3.
Not a shit show.
Andre versus Hogan for the title. If people want to listen and watch the number one rated YouTube channel that covers retro wrestling video games,
the number one retro wrestling video game channel hosted by Alex G.
Yes, that one too. How do they get in touch? How do they follow you? How do they subscribe? Tell everybody how to do that.
Well, first and foremost, you go into Twitter. You go into YouTube. You type in retro wrestling games, and would be the first one that pops up. We have approximately almost 1,200 subscribers currently. We had 15, but then YouTube did one of their purge, and I lost 300 subscribers because I guess they're jerks. I don't know what that was about. But
I haven't lost any, so.
We have like 4. If you lost any, it'd be disastrous.
Oh God, you know what, folks? You know what? Fuck it. Don't subscribe to his channel. Let's shut his channel down. No, just joking. I mean, any new things coming up on the channel that people should know about?
Lots of great stuff. We have the Fist of the North Star playthrough gameplay footage. We're going to do a final review of the Spider-Man, Fantastic Spider-Man PS4 game that was recently released. We're continuing to do our NES Classic retrospective. On top of that, we just had the King of the Ring video game review come out. New episodes of the NWA 1984 project. And, I announced recently that we are launching sometime in the not so distant future the AWA 1990 project. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, I'm just sitting on the edge of my seat. I can't wait till that happens.
You want to hear me rebook fucking AWA 1990? Yeah, it's going to be fucking fantastic.
I mean, folks, if that's not a tease, then I don't know what is. But, I mean, speaking of a tease, we are three, as you listen to this episode here on this Wednesday, we are 3 weeks away from the Retro Wrestling Rewind's maiden voyage, our first road trip to the Big Apple, New York City, and WrestleCon 2019. I mean, it's going to be fun. We've got our booth. We're going to be booth 45 on the second level. We're going to be right next to the great man who likes to give people, men and women, wood, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We're going to be right across from Ric Flair, Kevin Nash, DDP, Mick Foley, Lita, Trish Stratus. I mean, it's going to be epic. And of course, the great Muda is going to be there. I mean, you must be freaking marking out about that.
Yes, because Muda is fantastic. He doesn't come to the States very often anymore. He is probably in my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time, and he's my number 1 favorite Japanese wrestler of all time.
You know who my favorite wrestler of all time is? Sam Houston.
Oh, I thought I was going to say Jimmy Garvin.
No,
I think you have a new favorite on this show. Charlie Norris is probably your new favorite wrestler.
Is he related to Chuck Norris?
No. I wish he was, though. He'd probably get over.
That'd be kind of cool. But, the thing that's going to get over is, folks...
You know who's missing from this show, from the Atlanta Indies, is there's no Billy Black on this show. And there should be Billy Black on this show. He's not here. And it's very upsetting.
Yeah, I'm a big Billy Black fan.
That's what I heard. Gross.
Shut up. But speaking of things that are going to get over, we're going to, of course, like I said, going to be at WrestleCon April 5th and 6th, 9 to 4 Friday, hopefully. I mean, God willing, I'll be there by at least noon. And Saturday, I'll be there from 9 to 4. We're at booth 45. Even if I'm not there, Alex G is going to be lurking around, doing whatever.
Being a surly New Yorker, I'm definitely going to be surly. I'm not a morning person, people. So I'm definitely going to be surly. But when in Rome, how the rest of that go?
I don't know.
But I'm going to be a surly New Yorker in New York City. So
I mean, it's going to be fun. We're going to have he's going to put out our special gift, our special Retro Wrestling Rewind gift basket that we're actually putting together as we speak. It's going to be full of some great retro merch, some retro wrestling figures that are signed by a couple of people, a lot of magazines. We have some we have a compilation of some old tapes that are not on the network that are hard to find. I mean, you may not think they are, but they are hard to find. We're going to put those together. It's going to be,
and we're going to bring a Ouija board so we can talk to Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Too soon.
Is it?
Too soon.
Okay.
It's too soon, and I know what you haven't updated us last week, but have you signed up to get a picture with the great Priscilla Kelly at WrestleCon 2019?
No, I have not. I don't want to shove tampons in my mouth.
That's gross. That is gross. But
she looks like someone who's sticky all the time.
She is. I know her, and I've met her many times.
Is she sticky? Does she smell like a garbage can after it rains on a hot sunny day? She looks like I can literally smell her through the television set.
I will plead the fifth. But speaking of things that you can't plead the fifth to, you're going to go to, is that true? You're going to go to the Joey Ryan penis party?
You need to have a penis, I thought.
How about pancakes and pile drivers with Sammy Callahan?
It's too early in the morning.
But you're going to go to the Super Show on Thursday, correct?
Yeah, but those shows will get out super late. I don't know if you comprehend those shows that get out till like 1 o'clock in the morning.
The Super Show?
Yeah.
And then you're going to go, no, you don't have any shows booked on Friday.
Friday, Although looking at some of the shows that are coming up for that Friday, I'm kind of regretting it. But, I did promise my wife that I'd take her out to dinner in Midtown Manhattan. So we'll probably have to go to a nice steakhouse or whatever. It should be great. But Saturday I'll be at Madison Square Garden. I am ringside. At least I have 4 seats. I'm eight rows deep for the Ring of Honor New Japan show at the Garden. So,
which is kind of funny. Okay, so a buddy of mine who I'm going to WrestleMania 35 with, and I know probably haven't told you this, but the Retro Wrestling Rewind, they picked up sweet tickets. I guess you didn't get that email, that company email that I sent out to you. So unfortunately, you'll be sitting down somewhere away from us. But
I bought my tickets first.
Well, I mean, we probably paid a little bit more for our tickets, but that's beside the point. But his buddy is a ticket broker, bought 900 tickets to the Ring of Honor New Japan show at Madison Square Garden. He thought he was going to sell them all. As of right now, that's not the case. Because, I mean, what are your thoughts on, you kind of getting away from the retro stuff for a second. I mean, since Cody and the Young Bucks aren't going to be there, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's still going to be a great show?
It had to hurt the overall show. That's for sure. Not having Cody, Young Bucks, Kenny, Omega. And they're claiming they're not going to make an appearance. I'd be surprised if they're not in the area at someone's show around that time. Kind of feel bad for Ring of Honor there. They put together All In, and not to have these guys for this Madison Square Garden show is kind of a kick in the crotch a little bit, to be completely honest.
Hey, I don't want to start rumoring innuendo, but one or two of those guys, you never know, they could show up at the at booth 45 on the second level.
The Bucks are super nice. I've met them before. They're super nice. So is Cody. I've met Cody too. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I never met the Bucks, but I did buy their kids book, which I've been reading to my son.
I saw that. I'm done.
And it's funny. He is big into the Iron Sheik. He asked for the Iron Sheik. So what did I do? My wife said, "Hey, kiddo, you want to watch some Iron Sheik? Baby, watch." And
you showed him the RF Sheik interview with the Iron Sheik. That's what you did.
I did. I did.
I'm calling Child Protective Services on you right away.
No,
fuck the Jim Brunzell. How about that?
I break your back and make you hungry. Fuck the Jim Brunzell. But no, I showed him the match where he lost the title to Hulk Hogan when Hogan won.
You couldn't show him the match where he won the belt? For Christ's sakes. You broke this kid's heart already. You couldn't show him the match where he beats back when you guys show him get his ass destroyed by Hogan in like 4 minutes.
Trust me, Alex. He's my son. He's gonna be disappointed a lot in his life. That's neither here nor there. Speaking of being disappointed, Battle Bowl 1993. You said you liked the Lethal Lottery. Battle Bowl, not so much. Let's start off with the first match. We had Vader, Cactus Jack with Harley Race defeated Charlie, not Chuck Norris, and Kane, not Kane of the WWEF, but of the Harlem Heat. Yeah. What was those hijinks and shenanigans they pulled where they said, "Oh, it wasn't Kane, it was Cole"? I mean,
they just fucked that up.
Well, I mean, what were your thoughts on? I mean, trying to say Shivani fucked up something?
I'm just saying that someone probably thought that all the black guys look exactly alike and just messed up. I'm not saying Shivani. I'm not saying it's Shivani, but if you listen to Shivani's podcast, every time he has to talk like a black person, he sounds like he's talking from a black person in the movies in a 1970 blaxploitation film. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, what are your thoughts on Kane and Cole back then? I mean, Harlem Heat. I mean,
I don't understand why that was their name. Like, who thought of that?
I mean, who was booking at this time? Was it Bischoff?
It was 93. No. Bischoff was in charge, I believe. Flair and the committee.
That sounds like a Flair thing.
Their roster is light as hell too.
I mean, what were your thoughts on this? I mean, Vader, he's just freaking him. I mean, back then he was just freaking.
Well, Vader was feuding with Cactus, so that was the first match in. We see the two guys who don't get along.
Yeah, and they start fighting each other. I mean, it was, and Vader hits Harley. I mean, it's just a weird dynamic.
It's just shenanigans, and that's the cool part about like the Lethal Lottery is like you're having people who are involved in feuds kind of go after each other, which is definitely interesting. It's just I don't like that battle royal at the end. It's anticlimactic.
I guess it's one of those big words, but I mean,
you're not a big fan of Charlie Norris, by the way.
No, I am not. I am not a fan of Charlie
Native
Norris.
American Charlie Norris, who was trained by Eddie Sharkey.
No. Speaking of a person that I'm actually a big fan of, not Brian Knobbs, but he teamed up with the great Johnny B. Bad with Missy Hyatt, who was, man,
The
she
Walking
was
Riot, Missy
hot.
Hyatt.
She was hot all the way. I mean, she was, good Lord.
She hated managing the Nasty Boys, though. She didn't want to be a manager anymore. She just wanted to be on commentary.
Yeah, I mean, and she's one of those people like you told me in the
She's
past episode.
stupid wrestling smart, like ridiculous.
But she's going to be at WrestleCon, and I said, hey, I want to try to get her on the show. But you've heard from
there's other people that I know
like
that do podcasts and they try to get her on, and she feels that a lot of the times these podcasts, they bring her on to make fun of her. And, I think most podcasts at this point wouldn't do that. She does have a great wrestling mind. She is super ridiculously knowledgeable on modern wrestling, and that's what I would bring her in for. Like, I don't want to talk about the same old, tell me about Eddie Gilbert, tell me about World Class, tell me about your time in Memphis, tell me about Mid-South, tell me about WCW. I wouldn't do none of that. I would talk about, tell me about what you think about modern wrestling today, because she has some really interesting and good takes on it.
Yeah, I mean, well, you never know. I mean, we could land her, but they took on Eric Watts and Paul Roma.
Eric Watts should have been a heel, and I don't know why he wasn't a heel. Bill would not let Eric. I saw an interview with Eric Watts, and he freely admits, it's like, yeah, I was green as hell. I shouldn't have been in the spot that I was in. I was learning, and I was getting better, and I asked my dad to turn me heel, and he refused. And to me, is like the fans already shit on him. The dirt sheets already was shitting on him already. And if you would have turned him heel and have him be like a Shane McMahon type of my dad runs this place type of thing, with Bill Watts as the babyface, as Eric Watts as the heel, and eventually like Bill has to slap the shit out of him for being a prick, and you're gonna have like the father-son dynamic, and they feud for a little bit, and eventually you bring Eric Watts back into the fold. I think a lot of parents understand, really have a good concept of, when your kid's a jerk teenager and you want to beat the shit out of them, type of concept, and that's what that's what they should have done at that point, but they didn't. So he was beating guys like Arn Anderson for no reason. He was feuding with Arn Anderson quite a bit, and he was supposed to be like the protege of fucking Chono, which is weird, and none of that stuff made any sense. They should have turned him heel. Yeah,
I mean, this match was. I mean, it was. It was 12 minutes 56 seconds. I mean, it was a good match. I mean, it was, not that bad. I mean, the next match, Team the Shockmaster and Paul Orndorff, they defeated Ricky Steamboat and Lord Steven Regal with Sir William.
Shockmaster got re-gimmicked into a construction worker. Poor Uncle Fred.
I mean, what was he construction worker? I mean, it was just
he goes. He goes from almost main eventing WrestleMania 7 as Sheik Tugboat to the Shockmaster in WCW. Like, how ridiculous is this?
I mean, he also tripped in coming in for the Flair.
That's what he's most known for, which is sad because I like Tugboat. He was all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a commentating team, Jesse Ventura and Tony Schiavone.
Schiavone, yes.
Schiavone.
Underrated commentary team. I think Jesse's best work in WCW was with Tony. Yeah,
and it's funny. I think Tony was a little bitter because I think this was after his WWF run, correct?
Yeah, he came back. He left WWF after WrestleMania 6.
And he kind of give a little digs to the Federation at the time with Ventura. He's like, oh, you can't, we're not this and that. You can't just do what you want to. He kind of made fun of Jesse Ventura for his, hijinks and shenanigans up in New York.
And it's funny because Jesse wasn't a full-blown heel here. There was guys that he would actively root for regardless. Like, he would always kind of root for Steamboat for some reason, but he did that in WWF too. He was a big Steve Austin fan, a big Brian Pillman fan, and he liked Jushin Thunder Liger for whatever reason.
Were you a big Jushin Thunder Liger fan?
Yes, he's my second favorite Japanese wrestler of all time. I met him. He's fucking awesome.
I mean, is there anybody that you don't like?
Um,
That's wrestling.
You know who doesn't like me?
Sam Houston.
Eddie Edwards does not like me.
Huh? Why is that?
So, Ring of Honor, when they had Ring of Honor, they still do, when they had Ring of Honor in the Hammerstein, and they would have you come in early to do it. They have autograph signings if you come in like an hour before showtime. And the way they did it, they had all the guys sitting down in a U shape. So you would buy whoever you want autographs of, but you have to walk past all the people that you did not get autographs from. And I really liked, at the time, I was really into Davey Richards. And I had to walk past Eddie Edwards to get Davey Richards autographed. And then I'm sitting front row because I sat front row for like 10 straight Ring of Honor shows at the Manhattan Center. And I'm actively cheering Davey Richards, and they were a tag team at the time, and he's just staring me down with like such intense hate. And he's a babyface, but he's looking at me like he wants to kill me.
Well, you got, man, how maybe he,
I was a big Davey
God.
Richards mark at the time, though. He got weird, and he stopped wrestling. He became an EMT.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've met him once at a show I worked in Georgia.
Does he give you a Benoit vibe when you talk to him?
Yeah,
like he's like he might legitimately hurt you.
Yeah, man, I'm glad he never did. But
I'm
he does.
Not. I
He's
wish he stretched you.
Oh man,
there's something hilarious about David Fine getting stretched by Davey Richards.
No, that sounds like a trip to the old chiropractor or the emergency room. So yeah, I mean, who's going to take over for me on the show if I'm dead?
I can do this show with a monkey.
Really? I'm gonna bring one of those to WrestleCon and we'll see if you can.
Just one of those monkeys with the cymbals.
Oh man!
Can we talk about Ricky Steamboat and Steven Regal's feud with Sir William, which I know is one of your favorite wrestlers of all time, superstar Bill Dundee as Steven Regal's manager?
I was a big Dundee mark back in the day, but not now. I mean,
do you hang out with him now? Him and Jamie? You guys cooling out somewhere?
Yeah, we go hang out.
He has a car with his face on it.
That's cool.
It's a superstar on the side. There's a big picture of him on the side of his Cadillac.
And this is a current.
This is today. We're talking modern wrestling.
Is this in case he gets amnesia and doesn't know where the hell he is?
But it's insane. You know where you're going to see a lot of Bill Dundee, right?
Where?
The Jared Parsons projects.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I forgot to mention that. I mean, folks, I know most of this stuff, $9.99 a month. But if you want something for free, yes, right, folks, for free, there's no strings attached. As long as you have a Roku, I talked to Jerry last week, and he said that the Jared Parsons Wrestling TV is going to be on other devices later on.
I heard Fire Stick.
Yeah, it's streaming free on the Roku device right now. I mean, folks,
I would pay money for it. I mean, that's the thing, though. And I think that's the thing they got to realize is like, hey, listen, guys, like there's a lot of wrestling fans out there that would pay a couple $bucks a month for these products. Not only do they give us classic wrestling, but they're gonna have some original programming on there soon too as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. You're going to be, you may be, actually, no, I can guarantee you in the next couple months you'll be seeing my ugly mug on the Jared Parsons Wrestling TV
That's the type
network.
of shit that makes my penis soft.
Well, that's not awkward at all, but anyway.
Like I said, monkey with the
But yeah, they have old Continental. They have old IWA. They have so much at Portland.
Yeah, Vancouver.
You're looking forward to Portland.
Portland, most definitely. Paphos ICW because I'm the big Randy Savage fan, and even Al Tomko's Vancouver. So that stuff is really really good, and they're gonna have some other stuff on there as well. Again, I'm just waiting for, as someone who collects wrestling footage, and for me to get the opportunity to see stuff that I have not already seen already, that's a big deal.
Yeah, man.
We've seen all this. Like I've seen all you can see, right? I'm pretty there's some guys on YouTube who are like really kind of finding some really obscure stuff. Texas All-Star being one of those with the early young Shawn Michaels. Our good friend Roy Lucia just put those up for us, so those are fantastic. But like, you don't know how excited I get. Like, I get to see something I haven't seen before. Like, that's insane.
I mean, it's one of those things that, I mean, I this past week I fell into the Memphis YouTube hole, and I watched a lot of Memphis, and I must say Memphis, they were really good. I mean, it was one of the top promotions back in the day.
Like, the TV show is phenomenal. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was well produced. I mean, it had, you know what, it was well. I mean, and that's kind of what the Jared Parsons Wrestling TV network is. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's well produced. I mean, folks, you know, I have a buddy who used to work for the WWE in their network, the network whenever they launched it. And folks, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to digitize all of this old footage. So give them a couple of months. They're going to have a lot of stuff. I've been told they're going to be putting some new footage up every month. Like you said, original programming.
So what do you think? What do you think the Masters were on? Do you think the Masters were on beta tapes?
I think so. I mean, if you go on their Facebook page, the Jared Parsons TV Wrestling TV Network, on their Facebook page, they had a dispute with, I'm not sure who it was. Someone said that they didn't own all this footage, and
I was watching that.
and Adam said that he did, and he proved it. And I mean, they have so many tapes. I'm looking forward to taking a trip up to Nashville, to kind of look at their archives. They got a road trip coming up the next couple of months when I debut my voice and my face on the network. So it's gonna be a ratings booster, I think. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, on to
you know who's
next
not a
match.
rating booster? King Kong is not a ratings booster.
Not King Kong Bundy, but just King Kong.
From the Colossal Kongs.
Yeah, it was he tag teamed with Dustin Rhodes, the Natural, that defeated the Equalizer and King Kong's partner, Awesome Kong.
Again, a lot of Georgia indie guys on this show. We'll see some more later on when we see Rip Rogers make an appearance. Yeah, I mean, two partners fighting again. Kind of the concept of the lethal lottery here. Equalizer, who become Evad, Dave Sullivan. That whole gimmick was weird, and he was dyslexic, and he had the bunny rabbit. It was bizarre. And Dustin Rhodes it's being Dustin Rhodes here again. He is the Natural. I've never seen someone so young be so good so early. Like he was at this time in 1993. He's as good as Barry Windham in his prime.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I mean, and just think, he has been in the same gimmick for what, 25 years?
This is 1996. I mean, if you're gonna minus a couple of tours of WCW and one tour of TNA.
Yeah, I don't really count TNA. I mean,
Black Rain was awful. So was he Relic in WCW? Relic is backwards for killer, by the way.
I mean, he. I mean, that could have, probably described his life at the moment. I mean, he, went through a lot of troubles.
Well, then Terry Reynolds would do that to you.
I'm sure she would. I mean, what are your thoughts on this match? I mean, it went 5 minutes and 55 seconds.
I mean, it was fine. I mean, again, you got to throw the two partners fighting, in this match, and then you have Dustin Rhodes and working really hard to make this match anywhere near decent. Fucking Equalizer, huh? What the fuck?
Oh, God, the Equalizer. I mean, this next match was, better than that match before. Sting and Jerry Sags, of course, with the lovely Missy Hyatt defeated the great Ron Simmons and
Ron Simmons
the
was
other half. The other half of Harlem Heat, Keith Cole.
Yes.
No, sorry, sorry. He was the twin, the Cole twins.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on the Cole twins?
Like Kent and Keith Cole twins. I don't know why they were here. Like, I feel like they should have been, teaming up with WCW Special Forces of Todd Champion and Firebreaker Chip. These guys were awful. They're job guys. Again, it goes to show you how thin this roster was at the time. And Ron Simmons, who's, I'm not sure he had turned yet, but he was turning, I believe, at this point, just beats the shit out of Keith Cole at the end of this.
He should have done a lot more to them. They're just terrible.
Sting and Jerry Sagg look good as a tag team, though.
Yeah, but this is, I think, a better version of the Sting. Well, it wasn't, Clash 1 Sting, but it was. What were your thoughts on Sting at the 1993?
Used and abused in 1992. He's kind of rehabbing his, reputation and his overness, right, in 1993. He would get it back by 94, but then the Hogan train came in and derailed any kind of momentum Sting had in 1994. So 93 was a rough year for Sting.
Yeah, then it became the Crow and all that kind of stuff. But
he stopped working out. It was bad.
Yeah. This next match, Ric Flair and a young Steve Austin with Colonel Robert Parker and Fifi the Maid defeated Too Cold Scorpio and Max Payne.
Your favorite Max Payne?
No. I like Too Cold Scorpio. Max Payne, not so much.
Who doesn't love If I find out that anyone does not love Too Cold Scorpio, I'm going to walk up to him and slap their shit out of him. Because Too Cold is amazing. I like his music video that came out around this time. You ever seen that?
I have not.
Yeah, do the step.
I have not.
Oh man, this all off the Slam Jam album, which we're definitely going to listen to at WrestleCon. We'll listen to Slam Jam 1.
You actually have that? You actually have that on the digital copy?
I have the copy. Yeah, I had the CD, so I put it on my computer like 8 years ago.
Oh, you have to put it up on the drive, and we'll listen to it. So, we're gonna, folks. This WrestleCon after party. It's gonna be full of hijinks, shenanigans, and old wrestling themes. It's gonna be. It's gonna be great. Why wouldn't you want to come hang out with us? But the guy that we're gonna try to get to hang out with us and see if we can hang with him is Nature Boy Ric Flair. You gonna try to get him on the show?
Sure.
He's gonna be right across the street. He's gonna be right across the way from us. And
at the very least, we can get a woo out of it.
Yeah, I think.
I like Rick. Tell me some juicy gossip.
Who do you? If you had to put money on it, and you put between these three people, who do you think would be on the or four people? Jim Duggan, DDP, Kevin Nash, Ric Flair, or Mick Foley?
For free?
Yeah.
Jim Duggan, probably most likely. I don't know. I had a friend of mine who had a bad experience with Mick Foley at an autograph session. So, if you're not nice to my friend, I'm not going to be necessarily going to pay money to get your autograph. So I don't know about Mick, unfortunately. Nash is not going to do anything for free. We know that for a fact. So we'll see how it goes.
I think Diamond Dallas Page would. He, I'm definitely going to frequent his DDPY studio.
Well, we're going to see the David Fine charm here. We're going to put it to the test.
Oh, trust me, we're definitely going to get the great Gary Michael Capetta on the show. He's going to be coming back. Bill Labner said, "Hey, if you want to stop by my
you gotta see him at these things. He's running around like a crazy person. It's hilarious."
Yeah, he's got a booth, and of course, Bret Hart's going to be there, and with his experience, and who have you not? Can you kind of go run down just a short list of the people that you're going to get autographs from at WrestleCon?
Well, there's going to be Muda, right? Onita, Ultimo Dragon with Sonny Ono. I got to figure out if I'm going to do Brett, Shawn, or Rick. I can't do all three. I'll probably end up doing Flair. That's for sure. Probably only get, since we're so close to Duggan, I don't see why I wouldn't get a picture with Jim Duggan. Nash I met before, but I printed out a picture of me and him that I want him to sign. So Nash, most definitely.
And and I have a.
You got Tully. Tully's going to be there. I've heard
JJ's going to be. JJ's going to be there.
So I wonder if Arn's going to be in the vicinity. He was recently released, so I wouldn't be surprised. Missy Hyatt. I want to meet Hollywood from Glow. She's on the list. Fabi Apache is definitely on the list. Penta's on the
Priscilla Kelly.
list. Not Priscilla Kelly. Bandito, Brian Cage, Brian Pillman Jr. Just some of the guys that I'm going to go out of my way to meet. So
Yeah, I mean, and Brian Pillman Jr. has we've been talking to him, trying to get him on the show at WrestleCon. Yeah, I mean, and I'm almost 99.9% sure that we are going to get the franchise Shane Douglas on the show at WrestleCon. I've been talking to his people. He gave me his people's number, and I texted his people, and his person said, we may also get in Jerry Lynn. He's going to be there.
Referee Jerry Lynn. He's currently a referee.
Oh, sorry, referee Jerry Lynn. There's a bunch of other. I've heard we could get Sandman on, but he doesn't like to do podcasts. Yeah, man. I mean, you're gonna have to find the guy. We're gonna have to find the guys that'll do it for free, because I'm not gonna pay. I don't pay for interviews. I mean, unless the Young Bucks, if they said, "Hey, we will give you an hour on the podcast," I would pay them.
That's about the man.
Yeah, I mean, oh God, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I've been approached by a lot of guys saying, "Hey, we'll do it for X amount." I mean, I got approached by Randy Rose of the original Midnight Express, and he was like, "Yeah, I really don't like to do podcasts for free." I'm like, "Well, I don't pay for interviews. I mean, I'll get enough people. I know enough people that can get the person that I want."
Who's paying to interview Randy Rose in 2019?
It's 2019, not 2018. And then, yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it'll be fun. But I mean, speaking of something that was,
can we talk about how Ric Flair and Steve Austin were sort of kind of feuding, but not really at this point? So they weren't getting along and they were fighting each other.
And how good is Steve Austin at this time? I mean, he is relatively young in the business.
I have a hot take. I prefer Stunning Steve Austin over Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Is that the bottom line?
That's the bottom line.
Why do you prefer him over?
I liked him as the chicken shit heel, and this is when he was before he was hurt, before he was all jacked up and injured. He had his working boots on, and he would fly for everyone. Like those Steamboat and Austin matches are fucking off the charts. He's a fantastic match with a great Muda for no reason because it's WCW, but they have a great match regardless. And I really like the character of Stunning Steve Austin. Like this era Stunning Steve, not like Lady Blossom Stunning Steve Austin, but with Ronald Parker and this era, I really did enjoy him. Yeah,
I mean, I was watching some old Colonel Robert Parker footage with Jimmy Golden. It was yeah. I mean, folks, if you want to see some great wrestling,
did they call him the Tennessee Stud because he had a huge penis?
I heard rumor and innuendo was that's the reason, but I can't confirm or deny that. I've never seen it. But if you want to go on YouTube, just type in old wrestling, whatever promotion you want to. And there's so much old footage. I mean, don't you get in those YouTube holes every once in a while and you just kind of go down that rabbit hole, and you watched a whole year of Memphis in one sitting, didn't you?
Yeah, I get obnoxious. Like, especially if I have nothing to do or I'm off. Like, I just have it playing constantly. I'm at the point in my life right now where I stop watching anything that is not related to professional wrestling. So there you go.
Is that a shoot?
That's a shoot for the most part. Every once in a while, I will watch Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Huh. See, folks, that's why we make a great tag team, because if I don't know something, which is 99.9% of the time, the great Alex G will know it. I mean, the next match, Rick Rude and Shanghai Pierce defeated Tex Slazenger and the very buff, very shaved Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
Marcus Bagwell is awful. He gets better, but he's awful at this point.
He's going to be at WrestleCon.
Is his mom going to be there? Because I'm going to get a picture with his mom.
I'm not sure.
Do you know how over Judy Bagwell will be at a fucking convention? Her line she would have the biggest fucking line that you would ever fucking see at a convention.
And the funny thing is, of course, the great Conrad Thompson of What Happens When.
I do. I've met him.
And all those
name drop.
His one of his friends, Cassio Kid, is I think dating Judy Bagwell.
Bless his heart.
I think it's the same Judy Bagwell. So I mean, I don't know how many other Judy Bagwells there are, but yeah.
Former WCW World Tag Team Champion Judy Bagwell.
And she's also been on one of those, what was the gimmick match where it was like Judy Bagwell on a pole?
Yeah,
match
but they didn't put her on a pole. They put her on a forklift.
Forklift.
Yeah.
God, I mean, who booked that shit?
Vince Russo.
God, I hope he's not going to be at WrestleCon. I will pack up our.
He
booth
doesn't
and
do
leave
stuff like that. He's afraid of wrestling fans.
Why he's afraid of people actually calling him out?
Like, I think there's a lot of wrestling fans out there would not only talk shit to him or might spit and throw shit at him.
Oh man. What were your thoughts on this match? I mean, it was
fun.
It went 1450. I mean,
it's fun. It's nice to see the Proto Godwins here, Shanghai Pierce and Texas Passenger. They're cool. You know, Rude is awesome by this point. Like, I'm so sad that Rude gets hurt like by the next year and he has to retire, because I think this is Rude at his peak.
Yeah, I mean, he was really good back then. I mean, and the next match we had the Hawk of the Road Warriors and the great Rip Rogers, who was actually also on the Jarrett Parsons Wrestling TV.
He yells
network.
at me all the time.
I mean, I'm sure you do something to piss him off.
I ask very precise questions, or when he asks rhetorical questions, I answer back very precisely, and then he just calls me an idiot. And like, I'm trying to get a back and forth here. Like, I'm trying to learn something, but
I mean, he calls it how he sees it. So I mean, they took on Davey Boy Smith and Cole, the other part of Harlem Heat. Your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. It's basically Road Warrior Hawk wrestling this match by himself. I do like the whole Rip Rogers crawling to the ring thing. I thought it's funny. It's funny, and the fact that they actually win is funny. But I don't think that there's nothing on their show that was supposed to be funny though. This is a comedy angle.
I mean, the whole show is just a piece of shit, but that's beside the point. There's no WrestleMania 3, which we covered last week. I mean, and we get to the meat and the potatoes of the whole.
We got to talk about Flair challenging Vader at Starrcade.
They had that pre-taped interview where it was they were revealing. They said, "Oh, we have from committees from Tokyo, from this and that," but the winner is Charlotte, North Carolina. And Flair challenges Vader, puts his name on the dotted line, and says, "Hey, if I lose, I'm retiring."
So this is the 10-year anniversary.
Your thoughts on this?
Well, it's the 10-year anniversary of the first Starrcade. That's why it's where it takes place. That's why Flair is in the main event. It was supposed to be. You know who was supposed to be the main event of that show?
Who?
Vader versus Sid was supposed to be the main event of that show, but Sid got fired or quit or something, and then Flair replaced him with himself.
Well, that was nice of Flair, but I mean, it was. I mean, are you a big Vader versus Flair fan? I mean, they had
that match. That match is really, really good. Probably the best match of that era, of that 93, early 94 era. You see a young Charlotte Flair. She makes an appearance on that show, which is interesting to say the least. But I think it was. Flair was never comfortable as a babyface. He always hated being a babyface, but he was a really good babyface. That's the sad part. Like, Flair is strange, right? Flair hates being a babyface, but he's a really good babyface. Flair hates being a booker, but he's a really good booker. He doesn't like doing those things. He just wants to be Ric Flair, and he wants to be a heel, and he wants to call people fat boy in the front row. But he's actually really good as a babyface, especially here.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of something that was not very good, the ending of the show, the Battle Bowl. What were your thoughts? I mean, you love the Lethal Lottery.
Like, it's a lame, like this particular, like it's the One Ring, right? It's the One Ring for no reason, and it's just a regular. Like, first of all, battle royals are not necessarily all that great to begin with. You're main eventing with a battle royal, and it's just shitty. Like, there should have been like. All right, they should have had the battle bowl, like the battle bowl, battle royal here, and then had another match after this that was the real main event, whatever that match would have been.
Yeah, but they
They could have went with Davey Boy and Vader again, or they could have went with Road Warrior Hawk and Vader. You could have done, who else is on the show? You could have done Sting and Vader again as the main event. You could do Sting versus somebody to be crowned the #1 contender. They could have done Steve Austin versus Ric Flair match as the main event to determine the #1 contender. Instead of
they could have done Sting versus Charlie Norris.
Yes, Charlie Norris.
Oh man, but overall, what would you give the old Meltzer rating of 1 to 10 on this show?
Probably a 3.
You give it that high?
Yeah, I give it a 3 because that's Charlie Norris on it.
I give it about a buck and a half, so 1.5.
Well, you gotta understand the logic here, right? Like a 1 is like Heroes of Wrestling or XPW pay-per-views or WCW 2000, those or UWF Beach Brawl, your Heroes and 1s are god awful shows that are unwatchable. This is not necessarily unwatchable. It's just not a good show.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. It's one of those things that I'm like, I could do or, I
watched this show quite a bit because I like this era WCW overall, although a lot of it is bad. It's better once they get into 1994. There's a period of time, early 94, up until Hulk Hogan comes, WCW gets real fucking good.
And then it got real bad.
Well, yeah, they threw it all away because Hogan was coming, which I understand to a degree.
Yeah. But
then you saw Big Boss Man is coming in, you're in Duggan, and then Hogan, and it's ugh.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But to kind of wrap up this week's episode, next week we have a show that was picked by Alex G. We're talking AWA's Wrestle Rock. What are your thoughts?
The Wrestle Rock Rumble rap song is fucking phenomenal, by the way.
And then the week after that we cover Clash of the Champions 14. After that, the week after that we cover Starrcade 91.
I love Starrcade 91, by the way.
And then and then we have this Tuesday in Texas. We'll be covering that in the next couple of weeks, and then our final episode before the week of WrestleCon, it's going to be the WWF Wrestling Classic. What was your reason for picking this?
The Wrestling Classic, because that's a underrated show. Main event of that show, I don't know if people remember, was Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper. That's off the chain. It's the first wrestling pay-per-view proper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is in between WrestleMania 1 and WrestleMania 2. So it's significant. It has a tournament in it for no apparent reason. They give away a Rolls Royce. Terry Funk's on the show. And it's Hogan versus Piper in the main event.
Yeah. Folks, we only have 5 more shows until WrestleCon. It's going to be awesome. If you want to follow us on Twitter, just go to Twitter, just type in the keyword, the RW Rewind. If you want to go to our website, you want to go to our merch, which of course, if you're not in front of your computer, if you're just on your device, just go to the show notes, click on the link to our What a Maneuver Wrestling merchandise page. It's currently online. We're selling those things like hotcakes. I know you're going to be getting your Retro Wrestling Rewind merch to wear to WrestleCon, I would hope.
Yeah, I'm getting the Speedos.
Awesome. I was gonna get the thong, but that's neither here nor there. But folks, it's been a great week. We covered, of course, Battle Bowl 1993. Next week we cover Wrestle Rock. It's gonna be a great show next week. So, for the great Alex G, as always, I am David Fine. We'll see you back here next week where we cover Wrestle Rock from the AWE. That'll be episode 26 right here on Retro Wrestling Rewind.
Huge thanks, Mr. Fine, world's greatest retired pro wrestling ring announcer.
You are a massive suck-up and a jerk. You forget Alex.
I didn't forget him. Relax. I was going to get to him. Hey, wrestling fans, it's Boris and Bart.
on the Super Short Report for 1993.
That's right, guys. We have a huge report for today. 1993 was an absolutely monumental year.
Oh yes, very, very big. This was the year Monday Night Raw was born, and sadly was the year Andre the Giant died.
That was sad, but it was also the changing of the guard of sorts. This was the year that Hulk Hogan, he jumped brands, and he headed over to WCW for the next 8 years.
That's right. WCW got tremendously old and very bold, very quick.
What are you talking about, man? WCW was on the rise really quickly.
That is true, but WCW would take all the past stars from Vince and they would make them into ridiculous stars in the WCW. I did not like this.
Hogan was still in his prime, and him leaving Vince after all this time was absolutely crazy in the wrestling world. It was humongous.
That's true. Vince gave Hogan the world, and he leaves to go to this crappy place, this crappy WCW.
Dude, WCW was not crap. It was absolutely fantastic. It had the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, 16-time world champion. It was absolutely amazing.
Well, I forgot about the Flair. That is true. But anyways, it made stars. It made wrestlers.
Superstars.
Do not do that. I hate when you do that. You know this.
I know, but they're called superstars.
Do not call them that. They were not that back then. They were wrestlers. And they made the wrestlers wear these troop stormers.
That's not right.
These stormtrooper helmets. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better, but still.
Anyways, let me finish. It had these stupid stormtrooper helmets made these stars go through the wall and they fell. They look like morons. They do ridiculous things like this all the time in WCW.
That is true. WCW was a little bit different, but yeah, the Shockmaster was crazy, but that was in 1993. But anyways, the WWF was also going through some massive changes at the time. HBK, The Undertaker, Bret the Hitman Hart were now leading the way.
Oh, great. Here we go. We get to hear of your creepy love obsession with Bret the Hitman of Hearts.
What are you talking about, man? He's my favorite wrestler, yeah, but I don't find anything weird about it.
Oh, it is very weird. You have the little dolls of Bret Hart. Many little dolls of him.
Dude, they are worth a lot of money, man.
They are weird to have little dolls. Only children have dolls. And you have the little jacket you put on. That is even weirder. Weirder you put a little jacket on a doll.
Hey, man, that is mint condition. I put that on eBay. That was a lot of money.
eBay is for weirdos like you who get their dolls to play with them forever. It is very strange.
Anyways, thanks for having us, guys. We really appreciate it. 1993 was an absolutely amazing year.
It absolutely was, and it is very strange of your dolls. That is all for today. Have a good one, everyone. We will join you next time on the Super Short Report. I am Boris.
And I'm Bart, guys. Thanks a lot.
And 38 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Pro. Mr.
Andre the
Pro
Giant.
gonna get his wits in on the bruiser. Hulk Hogan.
Number 1, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
his opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.
Quand même à aimer Rejoice.